As lovers of the Ahlul Bayt, we all have an inclination to the epitome of love. When we rejoice, when times are hard, whatever stage of life we are in, we all yearn to be in one special place. We all wish to visit the blessed shrine of Imam Hussein in the holy city of Karbala. Not all of us have the blessing to visit the shrine of Imam Hussein, but there is still a way to experience the sights and sound of the blessed land of Karbala in the comfort of your own homes.
We call upon you, dear viewers, to support us in our financial costs to help bring the Holy Land of Karbala beaming into your homes. You can support us with a monthly donation of just $50 or £30. We are your gateway to Karbala. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Imam Hussein TV 3.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to a brand new season of AHKAM SOS. This is the second episode here of our brand new season. Inshallah, all you guys are doing well. This is a live show. We do take in all your questions. If you have any questions you'd like to ask, please send them in via the WhatsApp. You can do it on Facebook Live or on YouTube. Just put it in the comment section or give us a call live in the studio 0203 515 0199. I'm your host, Imam Hussein Shia, and joining me as always is the Honourable Sheikh Ali Maash. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
How are you doing this evening?
Alhamdulillah, fine.
MashaAllah, it's good to have you back. Sheikhna, my first question is the title of Amirul Mu'mineen, the Prince of the Believers, the leader of the believers. We associate this with Imam Ali alayhi salam. Are we allowed to associate the title to anybody else, be it a holy personality, be it other leaders, other scholars and so forth? Can they use this title, or is it specifically for Imam Ali alayhi salam?
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. The title of Amir al-Mu'mineen Salamullah alayh is only given to Imam Ali alayhi salam. Nobody has the right to claim or take this title for himself or use it. We have a hadith in Kitab al-Kafi عن أبي عبد الله الصادق عليه السلام, the Imam, the sixth Imam of Ahlul Bayt عليه السلام, mentioned that a man asks the Imam, سأله رجل عن القائم سلام الله عليه يسلم عليه بأمرة المؤمنين, that somebody asks the Imam that some people would they want to say salam to the Imam al-Zaman by the Amir al-Mu'mineen. Is that possible? قال عليه السلام لا, no, you can't. ذاك أو ذاك اسم سمى الله به أمير المؤمنين. This is the name or title given to Imam Ali alayhi salam only. Nobody else has the right to take this title. Then he said, لم يسمى به أحد قبله ولا يتسمى به بعده إلا كافر. No one would name himself or give this title to himself and use it before or after would be considered as a disbeliever. Because somebody who claims to be the Prophet's Caliph and calls himself Amir al-Mu'mineen, this means that they have usurped this position and this title from Imam Ali alayhi salam. This position only given to Imam Ali alayhi salam to be the prince of the believers. Nobody has the right to take this title. Then he says, this man, جُعِلْتُ فِدَاكَ كيف يسلم عليه? How can we say salam to the Imam, of the Zaman, salamullah alayhi? Because they used to ask about Imam Mahdi in that time. So people knew about the forthcoming of the Imam al-Zaman, Ajjallahu Farajahu al-Sharif. The Imam said, يقولون السلام عليك يا بقية الله. That you say salam in this way. Because the ayah in the Quran in Surah Hud, ayah 86, the Imam read this verse with this regard. بقية الله خير لكم إن كنتم مؤمنين. That what is left by Allah Azza wa Jal is good for you. We have to follow what Allah leaves for us. As the prophetic hadith, إني تارك فيكم الثقلين. I leave with you two weighty things. Not you leave with the ummah. I live with the ummah. The problem with the ummah, why they were divided into two sects, Shia and Sunni, because the Sunnis, they went and took whatever the Sahaba left with the ummah, and not the Prophet. The Prophet said, I leave with you two weighty things, two necessary things, the Book of Allah and my progeny, Ahlul Bayti. And this is hadith is famous, mentioned in the books of the Sahih and the books of the Ahlul Sunnah and Shia as well. So the problem is with people that they try to leave what they think is good for them and not what Allah leaves for them and decides for them. That's the problem with the Muslim nation today. That's why we see this misery, calamity, war, and so forth, famine, poverty, because they want to appoint their own leaders who are corrupt, who are oppressors, who oppress their nations. That's why we have to go back to the true leaders that Allah had appointed through His Prophet, Muhammad wa Muhammad sallallahu alayhi.
Sheikh, what is the ruling on the matter of animal skin, and especially meat as well? Meat or skin, if it's being sold by a Muslim, I mean, His Eminence, the Grand Ayatollah Sistani, has an opinion on this. What is his opinion? And that's from WhatsApp.
You see, in overall, the skin or the meat of an animal which was slaughtered in a Muslim country or in a Muslim market, it's halal and pure as well. Because we have one of the principles or the basis that Suq al-Muslimin, or the market of the Muslim, would acknowledge the permissibility and the halal of that skin or hide or the meat. So you don't have to ask and search about it unless you receive information, certain information that this specific animal was slaughtered not according to the halal methods. Then you have to avoid it. The skin, everything, the meat, because now this is a meta, and you cannot consume it.
Sheikh, when it comes to the time of eating, what are the makruh acts to do? What should we avoid doing when it comes to the time of eating?
One of the most important issues when it comes to eating is to avoid eating excessively and too much, to fill your stomach more than what it wants and needs. We have, for example, in the Holy Quran, chapter 7, verse 31, وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا إِنَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُسْرِفِينَ. Eat and drink, but do not eat and drink excessively. Allah does not like the one who would be excessive and waste, because you're eating over your limit and need, and that was Allah does not like to see that. You eat the much that is needed, and avoid eating more than what is needed.
Sheikh, we have some questions coming from our viewers. This one's on YouTube, interesting. Can I buy and sell haram products? Now, Sheikh, there are certain products we cannot sell. Alcohol, meat of swine, I think dogs as well, you're not allowed to sell, blood and so forth. But are there other products? For example, beef, which is not halal, you can sell that, chicken and so forth. Can you give us some examples of what, the question is here, can I buy and sell haram products? Can you give us some examples of which ones we can and which ones we are totally forbidden from selling?
Well, as you mentioned now, with regards to what's haram or not haram to sell and buy, basically to sell pork and alcohol is not allowed, even for those who consider it as permissible in their own religion.
Yes.
You can't sell these two items, definitely. But when it comes to the beef and chicken, which were not slaughtered according to Islamic Sharia, halal method, then of course you can sell it to those who are not Muslims, who don't consider, halal methods to be used and consumed. The same applies to the fish, for example. The haram fish, you can sell squid, let's say, to
lobster,
exactly, to those who the mustahil, those who would consider as permissible in their own religion and faith, but not to the mu'mineen and mu'minat in Islam, of course. So one should define exactly what they want to sell. Is it pork? Is it alcohol? Is it haram beef and chicken? They have to define exactly so we can tell and guide them towards the right hukum.
Really, really interesting question, Sheikh, from WhatsApp. Assalamu alaikum. I am pursuing a medical degree and have an anatomy next semester, where I will have to touch dead preserved bodies. Do I have to do ghusl every time I touch one, even with gloves on?
You see, touching the direct body of the deceased after it went cold, that would cause the one to perform, and before washing, if it's, let's say it's a Muslim body, let's say, before washing that body, that would makes wajib on that individual to perform ghusl mass al-mayyit, ghusl of touching the corpse, dead corpse. In this case, they have to, of course, do the ghusl. So what is important that it shouldn't be done directly, it's a skin-to-skin touch.
So wearing gloves would be enough?
It seems to be. I mean, I'm not sure, but it seems to be.
Okay, we'll get that checked, but make sure your skin does not touch the dead body. Sheikh, is it from YouTube? Is it permissible to recite the Quran in the shower? I think it's permissible to recite the Quran wherever you are. Reciting it from memory. I think you can do it anywhere, isn't it?
The dhikrullah is good ala kulli hal. You can mention these verses. We have some ad'iyah when you go to the bathroom to recite certain verses and ad'iyah. So it should be fine.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna, from WhatsApp. Is it a dua for love marriage? I don't know what that means. I think all marriage is marriage, whether it is temporary or permanent. But a dua for someone to get married. If someone wants to get married, what's a good dua or Quranic ayah for them to recite?
I can't really remember exactly which ayah or dua, but in overall, one can actually, for themselves, they recite the dua, for themselves. Ask Allah Azza wa Jal, for example, to to bring love between each other, for example, to have this bond of love and respect. So one can recite the dua themselves. I can't remember exactly if there is a verse or a dua with this regard.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Can we listen to shur or hype eulogies about Ahlul Bayt? Some may say it sounds too similar to music. Jazakallah khair. Shur, Sheikhna, very, very, how can you say, very up, fast and upbeat form of latmiya, mainly from the Iranian culture. Are we allowed to listen to these shurs? Are we allowed to partake in shur?
Any acts of, let's say, the azadari or rituals, which are within the boundary and the frame of the Sharia and Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, would not be haram or issues. You know, they can actually attend.
So according to Sayyid Sadiq Shirazi?
Yeah, within the Sharia, as I've said.
He allows it.
Laws, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another one here. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. From WhatsApp. Please, how authentic is Al-Kafi? And when reading it, for example, should I always check for the authenticity of each hadith?
Many of the ulama would take it as a authentic book and rely on Sahih. But of course, some would not accept this issue, that they would also consider some of the hadith an issue. So best thing to go back and ask the experts with this regard. But in overall, I mean, I've just read hadith from Al-Kafi. I checked, for example, the chain of the narrators, for example, and not only that, the context of the hadith as well. So the matan and the sanad, both. In overall, one can rely on Al-Kafi, but as I've said, some ahadith which are not really clear, one should go back to the experts and ask them.
Fair enough, fair enough. We have a phone call on the line, inshallah. We were to get through to them. Assalamu alaikum. Hello, assalamu alaikum. Okay, we're having some technical difficulties. Please call back, and inshallah you'll be able to get through to the studio, and we'll be able to take your question and answer your question. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. According to Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq Shirazi, is it permissible to eat cheese which is produced from animal rennet in non-Muslim countries? If yes, what is the reasoning? Rennet is made from animal inner parts, which are prohibited in general when not slaughtered on Sharia. Thank you for answering.
Yes, it's not only the Sayyid Sadiq, other ulama would also allow it. Many of them would allow it because it seems to be it's not part of the skin or the flesh of the animal.
Okay.
Even if that rennet was brought out from and extracted from a haram slaughtered animal, let's say in a non-Muslim slaughterhouse, then you still can consume it. It seems it's not part of this skin and meat in which will make that dhabiha najis and impure to consume and haram to consume.
A WhatsApp question. Assalamu alaikum. Is there a specific number of times one is supposed to splash their face and arms with water during wudu? Is it limited, or can you do it as many times as you like, according to Ayatollah Sistani?
In overall, you can splash as much as you want, 10 times, 20 times. What is important that this 10 times that you splashed the water, let's say 5 times, if you consider as the first wash, ghasla ula, then it's first wash. And then you're going to do another 5-10 splash. Second wash, that's it. You have to stop. Because the third is haram. You cannot do 3 washes.
So when you mean wash, are you meaning just putting water on the face, not the actual wiping, are you?
No, you can splash as much as you want, but with your intention, if it's your first wash, you start washing.
The wiping. Okay.
That's one. And then you have the second wash. So you splash water, and you start wiping. That's the second wash. You can't go over 2 times of
Same with
washes.
the arms. Can you just put as much
Same
water
thing.
as you like?
Yes, yes.
But then when you start to wipe... And
and it's the first, that's it. It's counted as the first. And then you do the second, and you have to stop no more than 2 washes. The third is haram.
We've got a phone call, inshallah we're able to get through to the person. Assalamu alaikum, hello.
Assalamu alaikum, akhi.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. You're now live on AHKAM SOS. But we don't need to know your name or where you're calling from. It's totally anonymous. Your question, please, for the Sheikh.
So, I listened to some Latumiyya.
Okay.
So, he's from Muslim al-Wali. So he say, in this Latumiyya, in Arabic, he say, لو ما عيون العباس إن شاء الله ما خالق ناس بالعالم.
Okay.
So what the Sheikh, what he say about this?
Okay, I'll forward it on to the Sheikh. Thank you very much for your phone call and your question. Inshallah, the Sheikh will answer it now. Thank you very much.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you.
Thank you. Sheikhna, did you understand the question?
You see, in overall, as I've said again, all these azadari, rituals, eulogies, noha, latmiyat, they have to be within the boundary of the Sharia. Sharia law, and of course, Ahlul Bayt statements. If somebody mentions something, we have to see, of course, if it's within the boundary of the Sharia. I did not understand exactly what he said, but I think what he said, it could be, I've just remembered this part from Hadith Kasa, that if it wasn't for Ahlul Bayt, Allah wouldn't have created the earth and the sky and the heavens, and لولا سماء ولا أرض كذا إلى آخره, to the Hadith Kasa. So if it's up to this stage or level, it should be fine. That Allah did not create it, لولاك لما خلقت الأفلاك, يا رسول الله, يا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have created the whole universe. So if we, produce poetry within these lines of, the Sharia or the Hadith, and the Quran should be fine. There's no issue with it.
Thank you, Sheikhna. Sheikhna from WhatsApp, can injection break my fast? Can one break their fast before prayer? Can one break their fast before prayer?
I wouldn't break.
An injection wouldn't break your fast.
Nor your prayer as well.
This one says, can one break their fast before prayer? Oh, this is a peculiar one. Which prayer are they talking about? We have another phone call on the line, inshallah. We want to get through to our viewer. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam. Myself, Mehdi Raza. I'm from India. I'm speaking from India.
Fantastic, brother. Your question, please, for the Sheikh.
Yeah, first of all, I want to participate this time in the Shia voice. I'm glad to participate. I saw the full episodes of the first season, and I really will be grateful if you. Yeah. Am I audible to you?
Pardon?
Am I audible to you?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. I just want to let you know this is AHKAM SOS. This isn't the Shia voice. Though, you're live on the fiqh show. If you have a fiqhy question, we'll be more than happy to help you. But if it's in regards to the Shia voice, which was a great production by Imam Hussein TV, if that's your question, then you're better off talking to the backstage production team, and inshallah they'll be able to help you.
Inshallah. Will you invite me to the Shia voice program?
It depends if you're good enough. We're sending you audition, and inshallah the producers will be able to invite you.
For sure, inshallah. Yeah, I will send my audition to you, inshallah, for tomorrow. Okay.
No problem. Anyway, sending your tape, inshallah they'll be able to help you.
So much.
Thank you. Take care and keep watching AHKAM SOS. Fantastic phone call. Sheikhna, question here from WhatsApp. Can a single mother lead her baligh son in prayer to ensure they are praying correctly? The niyyah will not be one of jama'ah, but they'll be praying together with the boys in front of her.
So each pray separately, let's say, in furada.
Yes, furada, but I guess they're trying to teach them how to perform salah. So sometimes, the sister would go in front and, start teaching and lead the prayer and so forth.
If the boy is baligh, which means the salah would be wajib on him, they're going to have a problem if they follow Ayatollah Sistani and other maraji' who have this fatwa that if the distance is very close between male and female in salah, even if it's furada, then there's a problem in terms of the salah. There must be a separation of a couple of meters.
Yes.
So they're going to have this issue in terms of praying too close to each other as a male and a female. That's a problem. So they have to, use a different way and method to teach that baligh individual the salah.
Fantastic. From YouTube, Sheikhna, can we say takbir when finishing the salah verbally without raising our hands? I think this is at the end, the 3 takbir when we're finishing our salah. Do we need to, when finishing, do we have to say, or can we say takbir? No. Can we say takbir when finishing salah verbally without raising our hands? So, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Yes, you can. And it seems to me this act of Allahu Akbar is outside the salah. Because the minute you say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, you're out of salah, you finish the salah, that's it. So it seems to me this act is outside the salah.
I see. Fantastic. Another question here from YouTube. Sheikhna, can you recommend any books that have details of Imam Ali alayhi salam's battles?
English or Arabic? I mean, it depends.
Go for Arabic because they don't have the most
I think
details.
Sheikh Al-Mufid has a book.
Yeah, Sheikh
Battle
Mufid.
of Camel, Jamal.
Okay.
Kitab al-Jamal by Sheikh Al-Mufid. English translator. I saw the translation.
I see.
Beautiful book, yeah.
MashaAllah.
Kitab al-Jamal.
Inshallah. What other questions do we have here? Assalamu alaikum. My question is, I'm not very fluent in reading Arabic Quran. I do listen to the audio online and follow the same on the physical Quran on my hand. Is that a good deed too? So, following the Quran, so you have a Qari reciting, going to that page, that ayah, following it as the Qari is reciting, is there thawab and ajr in that?
Of course, one should use any means in order to learn the Holy Quran, to recite, especially in the Salah. It's important that for the one to recite the verses correctly in Salah, with the correct pronunciations, with the harakat, at least to be able to recite the Salah with the correct recitation. It's very important.
Fantastic. We have another phone call. Inshallah, it's not a Shia voice audition. Assalamu alaikum. Your question, please, for the Sheikh.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yes, brother. I want to ask you a question. I used to be a Sunni before,
Okay.
but I pray in Shia. I pray in a Sunni mosque.
Okay.
My question arises: I've got three questions.
Okay, let's go one by one. Go ahead.
Yes. First important one is with regards to the conclusion of Salah. Can I say takbir verbally, or do I have to say it raising my hands to avoid dirty looks from other people?
Okay.
My second question is:
Go ahead.
Can I do wudu the way that I used to do wudu before, or do I have to do it the way that according to the Ahlul Bayt alayhum as-salam?
Okay.
And third one is how do I pray Jummah Salah with Sunnis? Because with regards to Qunut, I don't think that will be possible with them.
Fair enough. Thank you very much.
My
for your
name is.
questions. No, don't need to
Shall I
give
give
your
you
name.
my
It's okay. You don't need to give your name or where you're calling from. It's totally anonymous. We've got your questions. Inshallah, the Sheikh will answer them now. Thank you very
Please don't
much.
ring back on this phone, please, because I'm from a Sunni background, but I'm Ahlul Bayti now.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah. May
Okay.
God bless you.
Jazakallah khairan.
And may the Ahlul Bayt, inshallah,
Mufti
accept
Mek will
you.
look after you. Mawla salamat khair.
Okay.
And also one more question: is Nara Bida? Saying Nara Haidari, is that Bida?
No, not at all. But the Sheikh will answer these questions now. Thank you very much for your phone
Four
call.
questions, yeah?
Thank you. Okay, Sheikh, now we've got 4 questions, inshallah, from a very, very enthusiastic caller. Thank you very much for your phone call. This brother came from a Sunni background, has converted to the faith of the Ahlul Bayt, the path of the Ahlul Bayt, and now has certain issues. The first one, we actually answered it, but doing the takbir at the end of the salah, he's in a mosque which is not a Shia mosque. Does he need to raise the hands? Does he have to say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar verbally?
Yeah, initially, let's answer this first question. Basically, I just said now, a few minutes ago, that this Allahu Akbar is outside the salah. The minute you say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, you have finished and ended your salah. So this movement is actually outside the salah. You can actually just say Allahu Akbar without moving his hands. That's number one. Number two?
Number 2 was in regards to, I think he was saying, can we pray Jummah prayers alongside the Sunnis? Because he was saying that we can't do the Qanut in the first and second rak'ah. Maybe it's troublesome for him, or he's going to get stared at and looked at and so forth. So is he allowed to, how does he perform the Jummah prayer?
I mean, Jum'ah prayer is not wajib on him to perform. It's a wajib takhyiri. In other words, Jum'ah prayer, you can pray either Jum'ah in Jama'ah or Salat al-Dhuhr by yourself. You don't have to go to a Jama'ah. It's not wajib, so you can leave it and not attend the Jum'ah prayer. You don't have to attend. It's not something compulsory to attend. And of course, you can't pray behind the Imam who is not just. One of the conditions that we have, that the Imam must be adil and just. Even if he was a Shia Imam in prayer, you have to make sure that he is just and adil. So that's the condition. So best thing is to avoid this type of prayers and pray by yourself.
His other question was in regards to wudu, and that doing wudu, the way that the Ahl Sunnah do it, is that acceptable according to the school of the Ahlul Bayt?
You have to follow Ahlul Bayt salam alayhim, the wudu. You cannot do it differently. The wudu would be batil and the salah would be batil as well.
I mean, it's quite important to mention here that even in history, those who were anti-Shia would watch the way the Shia would do wudu, because obviously they wouldn't wash the feet, they would wipe and so forth. So they would watch how you do wudu because it was an identifier that, you know, they do wudu differently. And this is as early as the times of even in the times of Imam Ali alayhi salam. They would watch how people would do wudu to see if they follow Imam Ali or not. So it's very, very clear and significant that, you know, the Shias do wudu very, very differently. His final question was to say, Nara Hadri, Ya Ali, is this a bid'ah?
No, it's not a bid'ah, you know, Ya Ali. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, many times in the battles in Uhud, he would call, Ya Ali, you know, push this army back, you know, the Mushrikeen army, for example. He would call them. And to call somebody Ya with Ya, for example, to be dead or alive, it doesn't make a difference, you know, because what the Wahhabis came up with the idea that if you say Ya to somebody who is dead, it's shirk. So if you say Ya Muhammad, it's shirk. There is no evidence that to say to somebody Ya and he's dead, it's shirk, but if he's alive, it's okay. So if the Imam Ali was alive now between us, and we say, Ya Ali, come here, join us in this session, for example, that's not shirk. But if he's now, because he's martyred and died, we can't say, yeah, there's no evidence for this. It doesn't make, if it was shirk, then to say him, to say, Ya Ali, while he's alive, was also shirk. So that's their, you know, a problem in terms of understanding the meaning of shirk and disbelief or polytheism. That's how could, you know, you consider this is shirk when you don't have the evidence. You know, if I say Ya Ali, because we believe that Ahlul Bayt ahya and Rabbim yurzaqun, as the Quran says, that shuhada, and they are shuhada, and they are the master of the shuhada, that they are alive beside Allah Azza wa Jal, and they're given rizq. So if they're alive in dunya and akhirah, then of course to say Ya Ali, there's no issue with it.
Fantastic. Sheikh, now we're going to go to a short break. Join us after the break as we continue our discussion here, live on AHKAM SOS.
I have a question regarding keeping pictures of scholars.
Is it permissible to plant trees by or
Was
over
Islam
the
established based on peace and
non-violence? Is it permissible
non-violence?
to collect donations for charity projects from
Is it permitted to consume canned food imported from non-Muslim countries?
Is there an issue for men looking at non-Muslim women?
To have your questions answered live, call in on +44 2035 150199 or WhatsApp us on +44 7415 092155. Alternatively, you can also email us on ahkamsos@imamhussein.tv.
Yes, those are the ways you can send in your questions. You can send via WhatsApp. The QR code should be there somewhere on the corner, about here somewhere. You can call us 0203 515 0199. If you're international, call us on the WhatsApp number, and inshallah we'll be able to put your call through. If you're watching on Facebook Live or on YouTube, put your questions in the comment section. Inshallah, the technical team will send them to me on my lovely iPad here, and the Sheikh will answer your questions. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Assalamu alaikum.
Sheikh, now while I was cooking rice, I found something in the rice. I had doubt that it could be mouse droppings or something else. What is the ruling about cooked food according to His Eminence, the Grand Ayatollah Sheikh Wahid Khurasani?
The Sheikh mentions that if you have doubt, in this case, if it's a mouse dropping or something else, then the food is tahir, because we have a basis and principle that كل شيء لك طاهر حتى تعلم أنه نجس بعينه. Everything is pure unless you discover certainly that this is najis and impure. Otherwise, it's tahir. Otherwise, we're going to have doubts on everything. Oh, this chair could be najis. Or this, you know, piece of utensils would be najis, for example. So one should always say tahir unless you have certainty with this regard.
Fantastic. From WhatsApp here, Sheikhna, is it mandatory for a woman to acquire knowledge and Islamic beliefs just as they are obligatory for a man? The kind of knowledge one should learn as the first step in the purification of one's soul, enabling one to refrain from the prohibited and to discharge one's obligatory duties.
Yes, according to a narration that seeking knowledge is obligatory and wajib upon every male and female Muslim, so they have to gain the least, the main, aspects and masail of their daily life. At least they should know how to pray, how to perform the wudu, how to perform the ghusl. At least these are wajib to be known and understood. Otherwise, they might have to repeat their salah after 50, 60 years because they started wrong wudu, wrong ghusl, and so forth. So they have to learn these basic masail.
Inshallah. Shaykhna, we have a phone call on the line. Inshallah, we'll be able to get through to our viewer. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum, it's me again. I've got one more question, brother.
Please.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
With regards to the iftar, having to do iftar with a Sunni family, how does one get around that? And when a family tells you to lead the salah, obviously now being a Shia, how does one perform the salah with taqiyya or with genuinity, with sincerity? These are the.
Sorry, brother, quickly. Do you feel as you're in a Sunni environment? Is there a lot of pressure on you? Do you feel threatened or?
No, they don't know I'm Shia, but I'm just saying
if they were to find out, would that cause problems for you?
Probably not. No. Why?
No, because then we can understand your situation and which Islamic law applies to you in your situation. If your life is under threat,
I'm more closeted. I'd like to. I'll do my iftari like 10 minutes or 50 minutes. I don't even know the timing.
Okay.
But the only problem is when the family get together and they ask me to lead the salah. I don't want to affect their salah because that's what they will think. That I'm Shia and I want to affect their salah.
Okay then.
So how do I get around with the iftar and leadership of salah? And tarawih is bid'ah, but I know now as well.
No problem. The Sheikh will answer your question.
And also, I had to listen to Sheikh Abu Bakr.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, you've been cut off there. Just WhatsApp the question, inshallah. Sheikh will be able to answer that. Sheikh, now opening your fast. This person is probably living with a Sunni family. Opening your fast at Sunni times. Also, they've requested for him to lead the prayer. Should he pray the Shia way or the Sunni way? He was asking. Please.
I think one should be open with other sects of religion and other religions as well. And nowadays we have all those platforms, media, people now they know us as Shia of Ahlul Bayt. Alhamdulillah, Iraq is now open. You can easily travel for ziyarah and so forth. So we are now part of the world's religious community.
We're recognized.
So, alhamdulillah, recognized. So one should be open and tell them, I'm Shia of Ahlul Bayt. This is how I pray. This is my timing for iftar and so forth. So be open and be strong, basically, in your aqidah. Yeah.
I mean, it was different a couple of years back. Sheikh, I think you remember a time where there wasn't much of a big Shia community. Shia Islam wasn't very popular or very unknown. And then we were a little bit quiet. But now, alhamdulillah, with the help of Imam Hussein TV, we're bringing the path of Ahlul Bayt to many, many people. And even in schools in the UK, they are taught that they are Muslims and there are many, many types. And these are the main two, the Sunni and the Shia and so forth. So we have a voice now and recognition. Sheikhna, is it permissible for a woman to travel without her guardian to seek Islamic knowledge and sciences, but with the permission of her guardian, given that the place she is traveling is safe and secure for her?
Well, according to these conditions you mentioned or statements, it should be fine, as long as she is protected and she is protected from the corruption, fasad and so forth. That should be fine.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. What is Sayyidina's opinion? I'm the Sayyid, but this is the Sheikh, no problem. I'm not going to give you my opinion, but the Sheikh definitely will. What is Sheikh's opinion on nadhr? Is it not bargaining, transacting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And should we engage in this? Thank you very much.
Many of the ulama would say that it's better not to do nadhr. It's like discouraged.
Oh.
Because you're going to bound yourself with the wajib act.
Okay.
You have to perform this wajib act because you did another vow or whatever.
Or if you can't fulfill it. And so forth.
That's the thing. So it's better not to do it.
Fair enough.
According to many of the ulama's opinions.
Sheikhna, is it permissible for a ma'moom in a jama'ah prayer to stand alone in a row?
What is mentioned that it's makruh and discouraged for the one. Best thing is to join the jama'ah. That's why they call it jama'ah salah. Is to join the lines. If you see this like empty space, go and fill that empty space and join the jama'ah and pray, and Allah will give you the reward.
This is from WhatsApp, I think. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Can a Muslim buy or sell wine or pork to a non-Muslim? What is the fatwa on the income one gets by doing such a job? I am a muqallid of Ayatollah Sayyid Sistani.
I actually had a question prepared for this purpose. Yes, the Sayyid says it is not permissible to sell these things, and the income is not halal as well.
Wow.
To sell pork and alcohol. And also by other ulama, not only other Sistani. All the ulama say that you cannot sell pork and alcohol, and the income is, of course, not halal.
Sheikh, what if you're working in a supermarket that sells pork and wine, but also other items, you know, vegetables, fruits, and so forth. So the income isn't directly from alcohol and pork sales, but it's from other sales as well. Does that income, is that haram as well?
You have to make sure you avoid that alcohol and pork section and work somewhere else. Should be fine, yes.
Fair enough. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is it permissible to close my eyes during salah? I find that it helps me focus in my prayer. And I also, again, can I have the opinion of Ayatollah Sayyid Sistani?
The Sayyid mentions it's part of the makruhat and discouragements in salah. One should basically follow the etiquettes. I mentioned this many times, that when he's standing and reciting the surah and hamd and short surah, look at the muhr. When you go towards the ruku', look between your feet and so forth. So have your eyes open when you pray.
It is narrated in the book Al-Kafi that Imam Baqir alayhi salam said, indeed the most intense worship is wara'. So what does wara' mean?
Wara' is the next stage of taqwa. So taqwa means to implement the wajib acts, the obligatory acts, such as prayer, fast, hajj, and so forth, and to refrain from the haram acts. Wara' is the next stage, highest stage in the taqwa, which means to focus on and concentrate on avoiding the acts of sins. Because you see, we can get used to the acts of the wajib. Pray 5 times prayer. I can, you know, routinely pray 5 times and enjoy myself with the salah. And the same applies with fasting, especially when you have the time of iftar arrives and the suhoor as well. So that becomes like a routine. But when it comes to the haram, it's so difficult. I'm in gathering, there's a backbiting, there's slandering, and I'm joining this meeting as well. And it's, you know, it gives some kind of, you know, ala kul hal, or looking at the haram, opposite gender in the streets, again, that lustful look, pleasure look, it's difficult. Maybe I get sad when I miss my Fajr prayers. I get sad, you know, depressed on that day. But if I look at the non-mahram in the university or college or workplace, that lustful look, enjoyable look, of course, I don't get sad. I enjoy it. So haram, to practice the haram is easier than practicing, or let's say,
it is harder to avoid the sins.
To avoid the haram is very hard.
Compared to doing the wajib.
Doing the wajib. Wajib, you can get used to it as a routine. But haram is hard to avoid it. That's why the wara' has been mentioned. And you know, one of the admonishments and the advice of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam before the holy month of Ramadan, that the best deed in this holy month, al-wara' an maharimillah, is to avoid the haram in this holy month. Otherwise, you could have said, the best thing is to pray and recite the whole Quran and fast as well. No, wara'. To avoid the haram is the most difficult task in which we have to train ourselves.
Fantastic. Sheikh, I think we've got time for just one more question, and this is from WhatsApp. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Why did the Prophet marry 2 of his daughters to Uthman if he was a munafiq? Please elaborate. That's from YouTube. Sheikhna, first of all, how many daughters did the Prophet have? And were any of them married to Uthman, if any?
The same question applies to why did the Prophet got married to Aisha and Hafsa. in which Surah Tahrim mentions their deeds. In overall, Allah Azza wa Jal created the mankind for the purpose of testing. لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. Allah uses all means of testing to test this human being, to see if he passes or he fails. And that's why you see that the Sahaba were tested. But eventually what the Quran says, أَفَإِن مَاتَ أَوْ قُتِلَ, if the Prophet dies or gets killed, انقلبتم على عقابكم. You would go against the Prophet after his demise. And that's what they did. They failed, the majority failed the test. انقلبتم, انقلاب, revolution against the Prophet, imagine. So it's all to do with testing the human beings to see if they follow Allah Azza wa Jal or the Satan.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Sheikh. And thank you to all of you for joining us on this episode of AHKAM SOS. If we didn't answer your question, we do apologize. We had so many questions coming in through. Inshallah, we'll roll them over onto Monday's episode here on Imam Hussein TV 3 at 7 p.m. See you then. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
Jiddu, I need to tell you a secret. I had an exam today and I cheated on the exam, and to be honest, I feel like it's eating me up inside as if it's haram.
Your father used to do the exact something and would always get in trouble. But you have done it now and cannot go back. I don't know if it is haram. Khair inshallah.
Thanks, Jiddu. Jiddu, I wanted to ask if it's halal to buy lottery tickets. They're so cheap and we could make a lot of money.
I don't know if it is halal or haram, but never think about something like that again.
Okay, I was just asking. Jiddu.
Ka'abitni, what do you want now?
I just wanted to ask if the sweet beef gelatin is halal or haram.
You're supposed to check it before buying it, not after. I don't know if this is halal or haram.
Okay.
What now? I am trying to relax. Why do you keep asking me? تعال هنا الخاطر الله. Just go watch AHKAM SOS. Any question you have, they can answer you. You can call them, message them, anything. Ask as much as you like. They can answer any question from any marja, okay?
With more and more victims of war and poverty, the Middle East has seen a surge in patients seeking medical aid. Iraq alone has 2.4 million people without access to any form of medical assistance. In Afghanistan, due to the lack of funding and devastating conflict, the health service is at breaking point. Imam Hussein